Alrighty. Hello, everybody. How is everyone doing today? We have a special, very, very special guest. I'll get to him in just a moment. But first, hello from Mexico. We have Mexico, Illinois, Michigan, Houston, the UK. Alright, California, South Africa. Is the personal trainer a nutritional coach as well? Are you a nutritional coach?
Yes, I am.
Alright, cool. Yes, he is. So, with me, we have a very special guest, my personal trainer, Nick Marcucci. And Nick, why don't you just tell the audience a couple words about yourself?
What's up, everybody? I'm excited to be here. My name's Nick Marcucci. I'm 30 years old. I've been doing fitness and in the fitness industry in some capacity for the last 11 years. I'm excited to get to meet you guys and get to know you guys a little bit, help you guys out in any way I can.
So, the reason I wanted to have Nick on is pretty straightforward, right? We go through relationships, we go through breakups, and at the height of a breakup, you know, what's the first thing going through your mind? It's going, you know, I'm sad, I have all of this emotional energy just flying all over the place, I want to contact my ex. And one of the things on the channel, and I know that you know this and we've talked about this before, is what's the best way to self-improve to twofold, right? A, everybody wants their ex back. And that makes sense. Well, what's one of the best ways to go about reconciling with an ex in a healthy way? Because that's certainly the key phrase that I try and get people. Healthy reconciliation, not just any reconciliation. There's no point taking the same relationship back. It'll just fail again. So one of the things that I've found the most helpful and that you have helped me do across the years with whatever breakup I've been going through or has been physical fitness.
Yes.
So I guess the first question I want to lead off into is, why does physical fitness, does exercise, does healthy eating, why does that help people with their emotional state?
So the main reason why physical fitness and healthy eating are going to change your mood, your attitude, your outlook on what's going on in your personal life, as well as all aspects of your life, is going to be because, number one, working out releases endorphins in your brain. So you're going to be much happier. You're going to feel that feeling of accomplishment. It's going to take you from that low point and kind of raise you up, even if it's just walking a mile, you know, going out, you around other people in a gym or anything like that. You get that social connection. Eating healthier, you really need to put effort into that, and by the time that you achieve that at the end of the day, you're going to feel much better about yourself because it's going to give you some feeling of accomplishment. It's going to be like, hey, I stuck to my diet today. I really am feeling good about it too. I don't feel heavy or lethargic, and it's really going to take you to that next level on both aspects. So it's not just about lifting heavy weights to try to release those endorphins. It's about taking baby steps, one step at a time, and it's the same thing with getting over a breakup. You know, one step at a time. That's all it is. Face each challenge one step as you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's one of the big things that people run into is it's like, hey, you know, because on the channel, obviously, we tend to do something called no contact, which is basically just don't, after a breakup, just leave them alone. Give them the space, because if they made the decision to break up with you, they are, you know, in that place of like, I made my decision. Logic's not going to talk me out of this right now, right?
Yeah.
Your tears are not going to talk me out of this right now. Maybe they'll make me feel bad. Maybe they'll make me feel guilty. But during that period of no contact, it's like, look, just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. Let them miss you. So, and obviously that's not right for every situation. If you have kids and a mortgage, you're not going to go no contact. But for most situations, what I try and get people to understand is that the exercise goes beyond just looking good and having muscles. It literally tackles that anxiety and makes it go from, you know, 100 to 20. And 20 is a hell of a lot easier to deal with than 100. But I think what frustrates the hell out of most people is that, you know, after I exercise, I'll feel good. The next day I won't feel good again. So what are some things that people can do in between, let's say maybe some weightlifting to help combat that exercise, to that anxiety using exercise?
So I would probably say the number one thing that you can do to combat that is view it as you would any other kind of low addiction breaking kind of thing, where you kind of give yourself one thing to focus on the next day. So let's just say you lifted weights, you're on your off day. Instead of worrying about, everything that you're going to do the day after or the next time you get back to the gym, try to focus on, maybe that off day you eat really, really clean, really, really healthy. And that's going to give you that same feeling of accomplishment and release those same endorphins of like, wow, I'm a bad mother effer, and like get really pumped up about it because your dedication and your investment in yourself is gonna take your self-worth and that mindset you have and that outlook you have on yourself to that next level, which is always gonna help with the coping mechanism and the anxiety levels of not being in contact with somebody, not dealing with things, face to face. And I know during any breakup I've ever had, that's been my biggest thing always, is that detachment to somebody.
Yeah.
And working out's been there for me, when I feel the need to text an ex or something like that, take a second. I know it sounds corny, but if you do 25 push-ups, you'll come back and you'll be like, you know what? I'm just going to sit this one out. I'm not going to send that text. And it does help, I promise.
Do you view exercise as a punishment?
No, I view exercise as a crutch in the best sense of that word. Sure. So exercise can be used to make you in a better mood if you're down. Exercise can be used to help with a physical addiction, mental addiction, anything like that, whether it's drugs, picking your nose, biting your fingernails, whatever level of addiction you're at, it can help with that because of those endorphins and that release that you get, that pumped up feeling that you get, just makes you in a better mood and takes the place of whatever it is that gives you that calmness. It's also a crush emotionally. So basically what I mean by that is I can lean on working out, I can lean on my weightlifting, or I can lean on, being as healthy as possible and focus on myself, and then I don't have to get wrapped up in other people's BS or other people's things going on and that they're trying to make me feel. Sure. And I can just focus on me.
Sure. So a big reason people come to this channel is for the emotional support. Yeah. Right? They want to know what the right thing is to do. Should I talk to my ex? How can I best go about creating that aforementioned healthy reconciliation? And I try so very hard to get people to understand that physical exercise impacts the likelihood of getting an ex back in a healthy way. Keyword always being healthy, because the way I sort of look at it is like this. Yeah, look, you got to spend some time away from your ex. They just broke up with you. One day it's not going to go by and they're not going to magically change their mind. It's not going to happen. Since you need to feel this way anyway, since you have all these negative emotions no matter what you do, you might as well aim towards the highest goal that you can really conceive of in terms of, what do I have power over? So there are some questions being asked about fitness, and we're definitely going to get to those, guys. So if you have questions for Nick regarding physical fitness, regarding weight loss, regarding muscle gain, regarding quarantine exercises, things like that, I know that you post some on your Instagram a lot in your stories that I follow along with all the time, and you post them for free. Yeah, so this is not like a money-making thing. It's just, I like fitness.
Guys, the one thing that I always, stress when it comes to trying to help trying to search for a fitness professional to go to for advice or anything like that, is going to be see what they do on their Instagram, on their YouTube pages, on their Facebooks, on whatever. That doesn't cost anything, because in the end, this whole thing about fitness and training and all that stuff, it's about helping people. Just like we're doing here, we're trying to, help people, deal with heartbreak, deal with struggles in their relationships, deal with, what the next step is. For a fitness professional, and something that you want to look for in those fitness professionals is, what are they going to give me that they're not going to ask anything back from me for? Because when it comes down to it, that customer service, that helping people get to their healthiest, happiest form of themselves is really why we all do this. And if you guys need stuff, the first time I'm going to plug it today, check out my Instagram, Nick Marcucci, MARCUCCI 18 on Instagram. Check that out. and you guys will see that I just post workout after workout. I give motivational quotes, stories from other people's quotes, other people's videos that I love, that I think help me and my mental state, and hopefully they help you guys.
Wonderful. So I appreciate that. And, obviously people come here for help, and I like to give as much free help as possible. So why don't we get to a couple of questions regarding fitness?
Yeah.
So Wow Demon Days says, tips for gaining weight and muscle for someone with a really good metabolism. I've gained 8 pounds, and that's a lot for me. So what are some tips for somebody who wants to gain the weight, to gain the muscle? And then later on, we'll address how to lose the weight and increase the muscle, sort of that body recomp.
Yeah.
So what are your tips for him?
First of all, Wow Demon Days, great job gaining 8 pounds, because whether it's 1 pound or 8 pounds, guys, that's huge. So props first of all. Most important thing advice I can give for gaining weight is going to be eat. I'm talking eat when you're not hungry, eat when you are hungry, eat till you're full, then eat a little bit more. Not till you get sick. That whole old school mentality of sitting down and eating 2 pounds of ground chicken, not gonna work. But with a good diet plan and stuff like that, where your calorie intake is plus 3,500 per day.
Wow.
Which is a lot.
That's
a lot.
That's a lot of food.
But if you're struggling to gain weight and your metabolism is just gonna burn everything you're eating, you gotta keep that up. Planning out your meals is gonna be crucial for you. The workouts that you're doing should be high reps, should be heavy weight. Your cardio level should be there. Anybody who tells you never to do cardio, don't listen. You still need the cardio level, because with your body gaining the weight and the mass, your cardiovascular system needs to be able to keep up with that. So do cardio once or twice a week. The rest of the days, you're either lifting heavy or you're lifting till you cannot lift anymore. On top of that, with a 3,500 to 3,600 calorie intake per day, and that's really going to be the best advice I can give to you for gaining weight.
So, obviously, when it comes to me, here we go. So Andy asked, what's Nick's thoughts on a vegetarian or vegan diet for weight gain? You used to do a vegan diet, if I recall.
Yeah, so I actually still am partial vegan, which I know if any of you guys are vegan out there, you guys are rolling your eyes right now that I said partial vegan, but I still like to eat plant-based. I still like to eat clean as possible. I keep my meat intake pretty low. I stick to mostly fish and chicken. No beef ever. My thoughts on a vegetarian or vegan diet for weight gain. First of all, supplements are astronomically better than they were 10 years ago when it comes to the vegan and vegetarian options. Vegan proteins, Orgain is a mainstream product. They're fantastic for vegan. First Form has a vegan product that's unbelievably good, but unbelievably expensive too.
And so just to be clear here, because I like to be as open and honest with them as I can, are you sponsored by any of these things you're recommending?
So Orgain I am partnered with, but First Form I'm not. So I don't just mention Orgain for any other reason other than it's a good product, it's clean. I don't get any money from them. They just send me samples, and that's it. So
you're not getting money from them.
So I'm not getting money from them. I just get random samples in the mail sometimes, and that's it. But I get them because I use them anyway.
Yeah, no, you know how it goes. I like to be open and honest with people.
Of course.
Just so full transparent.
So those are the two companies that I would probably look into first quality-wise. But vegan and vegetarian options, just eating calorie-wise, grains, rice, quinoa, beans, lentils, stuff like that. Make sure you get your fill of those. Broccoli is going to be key because broccoli does have the amino acids in it to create a full protein. So please make sure you up your intake on broccoli, spinach, and you want to also up your intake on carrots because they're a carb, and apples and heavier fruits. So apples, bananas, stuff like that.
Sure. Really calorie dense too.
Yeah.
It's actually surprising how many calories are in like a banana.
Oh yeah, I mean,
nuts.
Yeah, just the carbs and sugars alone, and then mix all that with some peanut butter, and you got yourself a vegan meal.
Yummy. So let's see. Ward Bigler says, I'm not comfortable with a gym setting right now. I walk and use a mini jogging trampoline in my apartment. For strength training, what do you recommend in a small apartment setting? So, yeah, what would somebody do, I guess, to get some good strength training without spending a lot of money? Because let's face it, we all want to hold on to as much money as possible, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
What do you recommend?
So something I recommend, invest in a pair of dumbbells, something that you consider to be challenging but not extraordinarily heavy. So 15 pound, 20 pound is a good beginner weight. 10 pounds is a good beginner weight. I really wouldn't go above 20 though, because you're going to wind up struggling through it sometimes. So just stick with that. Also invest in some resistance bands. So I live in an apartment myself. I don't have a lot of space to do it, but resistance bands and dumbbells are the key to my workouts. If you look again on my Instagram, you guys will see I only use one kettlebell and then 2 dumbbells and resistance bands. That's it. I don't have a full gym set up, and I don't plan on getting one because I don't have space. So
Sure.
You can be as fit as possible in a small space still. You just need to stay disciplined.
So, and we have a comment here, dumbbells are king. I like the simplicity. There's like, I feel like other than form, which is very easy to just like Google or look up a form video on YouTube or look up like your Instagram, for example. Like there's very few ways minus form to screw up with a dumbbell.
Oh yeah. I mean, you are not going to get hurt with a dumbbell unless you're doing something really crazy or like trying to be super impressive for a video or anything like that. If you keep the movements really simple, it's really hard to injure yourself, number one. Number two, they're so versatile. You can do squats with them. You can do lunges. You can do compound movements with deadlifts or cleans or anything like that.
Sure.
And then you can turn them around, use them like a kettlebell, use them like additional weight to your body weight for push-ups or anything like that. They're so versatile. So definitely, if you are in a small space, focus on some dumbbells.
All right, so we have another question.
I have a weakness on, so Sweet Christie's. I have a weakness on right side and would like to know different exercises that I can do to gain arm and leg strength, please. So different exercises that you guys can do is going to be curls, is going to help with the arms. Tricep overhead extensions is going to help with the arms. Leg strength, focus on lunges and squats. Make sure that your weight stays even on both of those, and you will be able to even out pretty quickly as long as you stay consistent with it. One of the things that happens when you're uneven sometimes is you start to favor one side because you know that mentally that you are weaker on one side.
Yeah.
So try to do things at the same time when you're working out. So if your right and left are 2 different strengths, do a curl with both arms at the same time. Don't focus on one or the other because your brain will spread the weight out and the effort out evenly. If you try to isolate, you're going to wind up only doing 8 on one side, 10 on the other, or you're going to struggle with one and fly through with the other one. Try to keep them even.
That's great. Years ago, I was back in school for before I had the behavioral analysis stuff. I was in school for music,
Awesome.
Specifically for opera.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because this doesn't really have much to do with the exercise per se, but rather with posture and like form. We used to have something called Alexander technique. And Alexander technique was basically somebody comes and they show you how many different areas you are holding stress and improperly like standing and how your form is improper. So the person while you're performing will like poke different parts of you and say like right there. And you'd be like, holy crap, I'm holding all this tension in my lower back.
Yeah.
And you don't even know that you're doing it. And I feel like that translates into exercise and injury through exercise so often.
Without a doubt.
So I think the best thing, and the whole reason I wanted you to come on is, I like talking about physical fitness. It's become a passion of mine, obviously, you know. But like at the end of the day, people are here because they want to know how to get their ex back. Like that's, and how to like self-improve and things like that. So we're here to have you with the self-improvement. And most people are wondering, like, how can I turn this into getting my ex back? So obviously, if we can controlling what we can control is the best thing I can say. So one of the areas that we can control, I can't change her mind, I can't change his mind, but I can make myself look more attractive.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the things that makes people more attractive for many people, not for everybody, is losing weight in terms of fat and gaining muscle.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So talk a bit about recomp.
One of the things that, I myself just recently, like right before COVID shut down all the gyms, one of the things I was struggling with my ex was, where am I, what is my next step? So one of the things I looked at for myself, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to this, when you're starting to date somebody or you are dating somebody, your self-health doesn't always come to the first, thought process. Like maybe the gym isn't the first thing you think of when you wake up anymore, because you have that other person in your life that you're focusing on.
Yeah, that you're buying
so now that person's gone, what do? How do you get that self-love, that self-worth, that self-focus back? And the very first thing that I suggest doing always is creating goals for yourself. So I always create 3 goals, okay? I create a weight goal, I create a strength goal, and then I create a diet goal, okay? So maybe my weight goal is going to be to lose 20 pounds, and maybe every week I weigh myself and I just make sure I'm on that path. I create a strength goal, so that is going to give me that fallback just in case my weight is taking a little bit of a stall. That strength goal is going to keep me motivated, keep me moving, okay? And guys, I'm seeing your question. I promise I will get to them. Alex Lowe and Julia W. So the last one is going to be strength, weight, and what's the last one I said? Strength, weight.
Don't look at me.
I just forgot.
I haven't had coffee yet.
Strength, weight, and and diet goal. So my diet goal is gonna be. I'm sorry, guys. First time doing this stuff. So diet goal is gonna be eating as clean as possible and maintaining your calories. So this is going to lead us right into Julia's question. Julia's question is calorie counting effective in losing weight? Calorie counting, and I know there are different schools to thought to losing weight, but calorie counting itself is going to be the most important thing you can do to losing weight. Do you have to be obsessive about it? No. But you do always need to maintain a calorie deficit. Now that can be done either in intermittent fasting, keto. It can be done regularly, watching your weight. I personally don't endorse keto or intermittent fasting, and I know people get really angry at me sometimes. I know. Even my co-host is giving me stink eye here and there, but I'm telling you, if you just watch what you eat calorie-wise a little bit, and you keep your calorie deficit between 50 and 100 calories, you're going to start to see a result, and then it's going to get easier to increase that. A general rule of thumb is a calorie deficit of around 300. Basically what you burn, what you put out, and what you intake, and things like that. So Julia W., yes, calorie counting is super important, but you don't have to be obsessive. Ballpark it. I'm skinny. Alex Lowe said, I'm skinny. Can I use whey gain instead of mass gain or protein to gain weight?
I would just say just eat.
So yeah, so gainer proteins don't. I know I'm probably the only fitness professional I will ever tell you this. Stop worrying about weight gainer proteins, because they are simply full of carbs and sugars, and that's where the gains are going to come from. If you eat nutritious food, a lot of it, you are going to gain your weight. Don't waste your money on weight gainer stuff, because if you don't work out enough for it to put into your body, to have your body use what you're putting into it, you're going to wind up peeing it out. And that's where most supplements end up, is just a waste in your toilet instead of in your body. So focus on eating. Don't worry about the mass gainers or the weight gainers or anything like that. Protein supplements are good. mass gainers, not my favorite things in the world, and definitely not fat burners. Just throwing that out.
Yeah. So, I feel like one of the best weight gainers in the world is like peanut butter.
Yeah.
It's so calorie dense.
It's calorie dense. It's calorie dense in a small amount. Tons of fats, good protein quality. If you read your labels and you make sure the sugars and the sodiums are monitored in the brand, so I use Jif. But yeah, I mean, it's just something that you really want to pay attention to. Is like, what are you consuming? Is it just peanut butter, oil, and the most limited amounts of extra stuff added in?
I'm just talking just purely in terms of like eating tinier volumes of food with more calories.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's peanut butter.
Calorie dense does not mean large. Calorie dense just means
it's like you can eat a
tons
giant
of
bowl of
nutrients.
salad
Yeah.
and eat almost no calories. And it's like, but I'm stuffed. And it's like, well, sucks for you.
Yeah.
Get some dressing
And
on there.
You're going to be hungry in like 2 minutes after you eat that stuff, which is what happens, and people don't plan for that, and that's where people are having trouble.
So Wenji says, according to our knowledge, your co-host is doing doing fasting, because I do OMAD and sometimes alternate day fasting. Why do you not support intermittent fasting when it comes to diet? What about fat loss? So
I knew that intermittent fasting was going to be part of this today, so I am ready for this. So intermittent fasting and keto and all the other diets are fantastic. They do work.
Can I butt in real quick?
Yes.
Because I want people to be very on the same page about why I did intermittent fasting and keto specifically.
Please.
I don't really do keto that much anymore. I do low carb for sure, like under 20 grams, maybe up 50 tops.
Yep.
I did it to address insulin resistance from years of bad eating, right?
Yeah.
I didn't do it just like, it was for losing weight for sure, but it was because when I do like a low calorie diet, like calories in, calories out, it wasn't doing anything because such a severe problem of insulin resistance that if I even looked at a carbohydrate, I would gain weight.
Yeah.
Because the insulin, the hormone that has our bodies store the fat, just was not letting go of a shred of fat. So I didn't do intermittent fasting thinking, I'm going to lose tons of weight. I did it thinking, let me fix my liver.
Yeah. And that's going to be kind of the outliers here, guys, is it's not that somebody just said they're going to lurk Rory, which I think is amazing. So one of the things here that I need to really point out, there are doctors who will recommend to patients that need them a keto-based diet or an intermittent fasting diet. It does not make them what I'm saying is that it does not make them bad. The intermittent fasting and the keto work. They are calorie they now they're going to have varied results for people, and a lot of times when you start something that is as strict as keto or intermittent fasting, it's really hard as a beginner to get past those first 2 weeks, and that's really what you're going to need to keep a healthy lifestyle. Because again, not to get too deep into this, but this is for real. When it comes down to it, you're going to have about a 2-week window of motivation that you're going to provide for yourself. And what you're going to need to do after those 2 weeks is you're going to need to just have the habits in place that when you wake up and you're sore and you're tired and you're still struggling from the night before, you're struggling mentally, which, is a big problem for a lot of people. You are going to still get to the gym. You are still going to stick on your diet. And if keto and intermittent fasting help with that, do them. So just make sure you do your research.
Do the diet
that
do
works.
the diet that you will stick to.
Yep.
So the one that is adherence-based diets.
Yeah.
Please explain why you think intermittent fasting is a losing weight method. I mean, it is just sheerly from a point of you're eating less calories.
Yeah.
And you're spiking insulin less.
Not eating is the key to losing weight. I don't recommend not eating at all, by no means. I'm not saying that. I think you still need a 2,800 calorie diet for most people. But it is the key to losing weight is calorie deficit, which means less consumption of calories, which means less eating. That's why intermittent fasting works. It's just hard to stick to because some days you're going to wake up and you're not going to want to eat when you're supposed to eat, and you're going to have to force yourself. Some days you're going to wake up and want to eat when you're not supposed to eat, and you're going to have to force yourself to do that. So it's really just a disciplined kind of diet.
Yeah. So let me get to this one. David says, Rory, should I date a girl with a kid? If you like the girl, the woman, mind you, sir, and if you are able to establish clear boundaries with the children, yes, I think that's fine. It also depends on how old you are. If you're 23 and you're dating a woman with a child, that is not to say I shame the woman with a child. I don't at all. That is to say, I want you to ask yourself if at 23 you have experienced enough in your personal life to want to commit to that degree, because that is a huge commitment, and I want you to really consider if that's what you want. Also consider the relationship that she has with the other guy, with the husband, listen to me, with the father of the child. I would say if you're younger, you probably don't know, or make it like a friends with benefits thing. Dating romantically, if the person is special to you and you can keep good boundaries, go for it. If not, don't. You are not that child's father. So Nick, the viewer Nick, had asked a question. But if intermittent fasting just narrows your eating window, you can still maintain and gain more with it at the end of the day. It's the calories. I disagree, but only like 20% disagree. 200 calories of kale is not 200 calories of brownies.
Yes.
So it impacts your hormones differently.
It is going to have to, it's going to come down to what you eat when you break your fast. It does matter. So intermittent fasting is not a hall pass to eat whatever you want between the times that you're allowed to eat. You still have to eat a calorie smart diet that is full of nutrients. Yeah.
Rich in nutrients.
You are right though. If your window to eat is narrow and you eat crap for 2 hours or an hour or however long you got, then you are not going to see a drastic change in your weight. You might see it at first because a lot of times people who jump into intermittent fasting first
drop all that water.
Are shooting out water, are people who maybe had terrible diets beforehand and are now only restricted to an hour of eating or 2 hours of eating, and they just physically cannot consume the same amount of calories they were doing before.
Me.
So
I can't, man.
And I mean, I've tried these things, guys, so I don't want you guys to think that I'm just like preaching on a soapbox. I went out, I tried keto for a couple months. I tried intermittent fasting for 6 months, and it's one of those things where like I've been through this and I know the hardships of it. I know how difficult it is to do it, and I do it because my clients do it. So when my clients do it, I need to know what they're going to go through. So Nick, you are right. If your window is narrower and you eat like crap, but you eat like crap within that narrow window, you're still going to maintain or gain weight that you're trying to lose. So you still got to pick and choose what you're going to eat.
So, okay. A huge question most of the people want to know, how do I lose weight? How do I lose fat in such a way that I could actually stick with? So what would you tell them in terms of diet, and then what would you tell them in terms of fitness?
So diet is, we all have heard this adage already, diet's 60% of the battle, right? So 70%. Some of us, it's 80% if we have really bad diets. So diet's going to be eat as clean as possible, eat as fresh as possible. Make a rule for yourself. No going out to restaurants or anything like that. The other way exercise-wise that we're gonna lose fat is gonna be cardio and weights mixed together. It's not just one or the other. It cannot be. If you just do weights, you're gonna wind up gaining, you're gonna wind up maintaining your bulk, stuff like that. Even if you do high intensity stuff, it's just there's gonna be a point where you don't get that weight loss that you're looking for, because cardio burns so much calories. So it does, and cardio is just a burner. It burns everything, which is why you have to mix it with weight. So that way, with weight training, so that way you are building that muscle that you are burning with the cardio, and vice versa and all that stuff. So it's really, really important that you are maintaining yourself that way. James asks, so I'm doing intermittent fasting with a kettlebell, dumbbells, 4 to 5 mile hit on exercise bike 4 to 5 days a week. Is that solid enough for my routine recomp full body up? Yeah,
that's probably too much.
First of all, 4 to 5 days a week of any exercise for 30 minutes, you are gonna start to see a difference in your body, whether it's more lean, bulkier, stronger, whatever. The fact that you have all that stuff is, I would probably cut back one of the days to maybe 3 to 4 miles or 2 miles on the bike, just because unless you are already like, and James, I don't know, but if you are already like really, really big, that's the only way that's going to really be feasible to maintain. And what's going to wind up happening is you're going to plateau faster than your body is going to allow you to kind of achieve. So that your rest days have to be rest days. Your cardio days should stick with cardio days. If you're doing that much activity, don't try to cram everything in at once. What about Julia W asks, what about protein shakes and protein snacks? So protein shakes are awesome as long as you keep in mind everything you put in a protein shake has calories. Protein snacks are great as long as you read the labels. You're looking for high protein, low sugar, low carbs. If they are high carbs, high protein, it's okay. If they are high sugar, high carbs, high protein, don't use them.
James says he's 6 foot, about 300 pounds.
Okay.
You're a big dude.
That's
you can have
like,
you can have a killer body.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. If you can maintain what you're doing, man, it is fantastic. Just make sure you hit those rest days, because that's going to give your body time to recoup, spread out those nutrients and what you're building.
So we get to Kagamon and then B.
Sorry. Okay, cool. So we got Nick. If you want to lose weight but gain muscle weight instead, would you say eating higher protein diet will help you lose the weight, but at the same time gain stronger muscles? So yes, short answer. Yes, high protein diet will help you lose body fat and grow muscle for you. What you need to do though is also keep in mind that it is going to be extremely hard to bulk and cut at the same time. And what I mean by that is lose weight and build muscle. So keep your expectations of building muscle low at first. And I don't mean like getting shredded or having nice looking muscles. I'm talking about growing in size of your muscles. Because you can lose weight and you can shred your muscles and make them tighter and stronger and look better, but it is going to be difficult to grow them because your calorie intake has to stay below a certain amount for you to lose weight.
Yeah. It's all a balancing act.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weigh and measure kind of deal, and that's it.
So let's get to B here, and thank you for the $5 donation, B. Appreciate it.
Awesome, B. Thank you. 5'4", 150. I'm trying to do keto, but it's really hard. Should I buy weights? I'm scared of going back to the gym. Should I start walking?
I mean, any exercise is better.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in regards to keto, because I've been doing keto for like 5 years now, if you are having trouble sticking with it, then don't do it. You know, intermittent fasting and the calorie restriction and the insulin drop from intermittent fasting is far more effective than keto. Mm-hmm. So what I would say is just do 2 meals a day. Try and push your first meal as far out as it can go, right? So for me, personally, if I eat at all, it's only once a day, but it's a big meal. It's like 1,700 calories, and after that, I can't fit any more food in me. So what I would say is like eat at 1 p.m. if you're hungry. Don't eat until you're hungry. That's basically it.
Yeah.
If your body tells you you're hungry, eat. If you're not hungry, don't eat.
For sure. And you're at a good weight and a good height too, where you're not going to really struggle with, being low energy or anything right now. If you do walking or light weights or anything like that, once you start your calorie restriction. So One of the things I get a lot of feedback for when people start keto or intermittent fasting is that their workouts suffer. It's only going to suffer if your body's going to require more energy recruitment to move. James was 6'4", right? So James is going to need a lot more energy to move his body and what he's got than a 5'4" will. So that's number one. Number two, walking a mile a day, just so everybody is aware, burns roughly at a 19-mile pace, a 19-minute mile, burns 110 calories on average. So just keep that in mind, okay? So should you buy weights B? Yes. Should you go for a walk? Yes, I would start walking. Me personally, I walk 2 miles a day no matter what, first thing I do. Yeah, reason why I walk 2 miles a day, that burns roughly 220 calories. That starts my day. If I don't do anything else that day, I've at least gotten 20 minutes of a walk in, or really it's like 25. 25 minutes of a walk in of exercise, and I burned 240 calories to start. So in case my day goes to hell after that, I'm already ahead of the game. I suggest doing that. Buy your weights. I would stick between 5s and 10s to start if you've never lifted weights before. If you have lifted weights, stick between 10s and 15s. And then if you're an expert or you did it for a long time, 15s to 20s.
Yeah.
And then the last part is if you're struggling with keto, don't address the keto part. Yeah, just, try something else. Try intermittent fasting. Do your research. Maybe you're disciplined enough to just do calorie restriction. And if that's the case, then you're awesome. If not, then try something else after that. Like there's so many ways to achieve this. It's just finding the information.
It's funny how much of this is so solvable with common sense.
Yeah.
Eat. And that's not to insult anybody listening, not at all.
No.
And it's just to say there's so much information thrown at people, your head spins. It's just...
not just that, but everything we are saying here, I guarantee you can look up an article that counters it. And anything that they say that counters us, you can look up an article that counters them. So
the Twinkie diet, have you ever read that one?
There's a donut diet, there's an ice cream diet, there's the Twinkie diet, there's a only acid diet where you only consume high level acid foods, and God, Atkins is like that, and it's just something that I'm not a fan of in this industry, that it's so cloudy when it comes to research. So you're gonna have to try stuff out and just keep working on it.
So Samantha asked, how low do you have to keep your carbs on keto? 20 grams.
Depending on your body size, I really would not go above 20 ever. If you're gonna stick to keto. Keto is extremely low calories, and low carbs, with high levels of protein and moderate levels of fat.
Other way around, high levels of fat, moderate levels of protein.
Sorry,
I do that
my
all
bad.
The time. I do that all the time.
My bad.
I do that all the time. All the time.
I'm trying to read messages, guys, so my fault if I got those two mixed up.
Welcome to YouTube, bitch.
Yes, I've never done this. Is so cool, though, guys. You guys are awesome.
It's not about carbs. For keto, it is actually very literally about the carbs.
Yes.
Specifically keto, but Seco, it's about the calories. So B says, I was 130 a few months ago, and I think I was too skinny. Now my booty's looking round, but I have a little bit of a belly and arm fat. I want to be toned. So that's a big thing, spot reduction.
Yeah. Here's the thing when it comes to fat loss, and this is, again, going to be a hard truth for some people, and it's going to be hard to hear, and fitness professionals are going to tell you over and over again that I'm wrong. It's really, really difficult to really spot places on your body and be like, I'm going to lose all of my fat from here. When you lose fat, you're going to lose fat. And that's going to happen from all areas of your body. It's just going to be wherever the stores get recruited from at that point. And I can tell you personally, I've lost fat from different parts of my body, each one of my cut seasons or each one of my cut sessions. So I lose it from my stomach first on some cut months. And then other months, I'll lose it from my shoulders. I'll lose it from my arms. I'll lose it from my face. So I know it's all about the booty, but sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice one at first to go from there.
It's all about the base.
Yeah, that's it. Get to your weight that you want to be at and then start to sculpt yourself.
So Ricardo asked a good question here. What should you be eating when breaking your fast? So for me, I only eat once a day. So I never consider what I mean, it's always low carb.
Yep.
It's always good high quality fat. So you'll never see me eating fast food ever.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I've eaten fast food. It's usually like an avocado, some eggs. If it's after my exercise, a couple hours after my exercise, I'll usually add some vegetables in, so to not mess with the antioxidants and offset the workout.
Yeah.
Just eat healthy, just eat
That's
clean.
it. So one of the, and again, I literally just read an article 2 days ago that said that the first thing you should consume when you're about to break your fast is coffee. That there's no proven method to that. It's just somebody's opinion. My best suggestion for you is a well-balanced, low-carb meal that's going to contain a protein, a good fat, and some type of vegetable. So that way you are hydrated, you're getting nutrients from multiple sources, and you have your 3 macros right there, which is macros, just in case anybody doesn't know, is protein, fats, and carbs. So you really want to make sure you are consuming those macros and focusing on your levels of those.
What was another way? Can you put a bit of milk in your coffee while intermittent fasting, or will that break your fast?
Break your fast.
Yeah, that'll break your fast.
Yeah, you can only do black coffee.
Anything
I think,
with calories,
yeah,
but like 5.
Anything. So the general rule of thumb is anything with a calorie number is no good for fasting if you're going to maintain your fast.
I think if you put a little bit of like heavy cream with a high fat content, like it'll break your fast, but it won't spike your insulin that much.
Yes. So if you're just trying to keep your fast going, don't use anything. If you don't mind breaking your fast a little bit, then you can add a little bit of cream or something without.
Exactly.
That's
like
gonna
don't take away the pleasures.
Yes.
Because otherwise you won't stick with it. If you punish yourself, you won't stick with it unless you have like an iron will, and the majority of people don't. Jacob said you guys should specify for those that don't know what you mean by good carbs or bad fats. I mean, or good fats.
So good fats basically are things like avocado, egg yolks have good fats.
High quality olive oil.
Olive oils, certain kinds. Basically, good fats are fats that are going to enter your body that are the energy source and that keep you moving and keep you energized and keep you full.
Fish
have good fats. Yeah, omega 3, stuff like that. The whole bad fat, good fat argument can be simplified by saying that a fat is a fat, so monitor what you're eating fat-wise. But bad fats are trans fats, things that fast foods, potato chips, the oil that they're fried in, things like that.
Oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything if it's highly saturated and highly I mean really anything that's GMO or heavily modified or anything that's cheap, like high fructose corn syrup, which I guess while technically is a carb, is like one of the worst because of how highly processed it is. So if you're eating a carbohydrate that's highly processed, like white bread, potato bread, French fries, highly processed, instead of some spinach.
Yep.
Spinach is a carbohydrate, and it's tons of fiber, tons of nutrients and phytonutrients and all these great things that it does to your body. Whereas, a loaf of bread from your supermarket probably is good, it's delicious, but there's a reason it's good and delicious.
Yeah.
It's horrible for you.
And Jacob made another good point. Nuts, I forgot to say nuts. Nuts are good fats.
Yep.
So there's and to list all the good fats, it's not gonna happen because there's millions of them. But good fats are basically fats that your body uses to kind of keep yourself moving, give you energy. They fuel your organs, fuel your brain. Same thing with carbs, which is why no carb diets are not advised, and even keto has a little bit of carbs in them.
Yeah.
They fuel your organs, fuel your brains.
Well, healthy keto, I want to chime in, because healthy keto says, not lazy keto, healthy keto says you can have as many bitter green vegetables as you want. As much broccoli, as much spinach, as much kale. Fill up. Don't worry about the carbs because the fiber content is so high.
Yep.
That you're actually, the reason they say don't eat carbs is specifically because like the glucose that it breaks down into, the sugar that it breaks down into, and the high insulin spike. But since vegetables don't really spike your insulin that much, and they're packed full of goodies, and nutrients. So when I'm eating a keto diet, I don't count carbs, vegetables.
Yeah.
I count carbs, bread, or a carb I shouldn't have had.
Yes. So carbs like bread, carbs like white rice, white potatoes, stuff like that. Before I say anything else, the general rule of thumb is that there is healthy food and then there's not healthy food, meaning that there's nutrient dense food, there's not nutrient dense food. So when you're doing stuff like keto or intermittent fasting or anything like that, you do focus on like where your carbs come from and things along those lines. So that's what I'm talking about right now. White carbs or any carbs in general, and when I say white carbs, I mean white breads, white potatoes, white rice, stuff like that. Those are the ones people think about as bad carbs. Every carb, once it enters your stomach, once it enters your body, as it breaks down, will eventually, hear me out, eventually end up as glucose, which is sugar. Okay, so whether you eat a sweet potato or you eat brown rice or you eat white rice, your body's going to process it the same way. It's just that how much nutrients, how much fiber is in it, how fast it's going to go through your body, what your body going to do with the other nutrients in it that makes it good or bad in general. But in theory, there is no bad carb. All the carbs will break down eventually into glucose. Just like a fat is a fat is a fat. Like you do need a certain amount of saturated fats in your diet for yourself to keep moving and things like that.
I think the best thing, well, I guess the worst thing that the health and food industry ever did was calling fats fat. Instead of lipids.
Oh, yeah.
Because then everybody hears fat and you think, okay, if I eat fat, I get fat. And it's like, that's so far from the truth.
Oh, yeah.
If you eat too much carb, you get fat. If you eat too much fat, you get fat. If you eat too much protein, you get fat.
You get fat.
So it's like...
Calorie is a calorie is a calorie. And one of the things that you've got to focus on if you're worried about your weight is calorie deficit. No matter how you get there, you got to get there.
So, all right, we got to get going. It is time for our workout, and oh God, we're doing leg day, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
God damn it.
Let's go.
So, Nick, last question. Where can we find you? I know it's up there, but just so that everybody can hear it, just in case they're not looking at the screen, where can we find you if we want to learn more about just fitness in general, or if people are looking to just ask you a question, where can they go?
Without a doubt, guys, come check it out. You can find me on Instagram right now. That's the best place to find me. It's Nick Marcucci, MARCUCCI 18, and find me on Instagram, follow, check out the stuff that I've posted up there, workouts, stuff like that. I post to my story all the time, motivational stuff, workout tips. I post what I eat, I post what I'm doing that day, stuff like that. And you guys can always shoot me a message too. And if you got questions, you need more explanation on stuff, please hit me up.
Alrighty, thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Nick. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.